Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In this segment, let's go back to the late 1700s and examine one of the most important events in our nation's history. On February 4th, 1789, George Washington, Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolution, was elected as the first president of the young United States. He would become perhaps the most influential man in American history. The American dollar bill bears his image, and the nation's capital city is named after him. Washington would indeed grow to legendary status as the first political leader of the fledgling United States. Born in 1733 and raised on a Virginia plantation, Washington was brought up as a military man, a characteristic that would define his life and legacy. He fought in the French and Indian War as a young man in the 1750s, and several years after the war, he would become a member of the Virginia House of Burgesses. Now, as other prominent colonists began to voice their displeasure with the Crown of England's rule over the colonies, Washington joined them. At the age of 43, Washington was named Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army in July of 1775. The colonies were going to war against Great Britain, the most powerful empire in the world. For the next 8 years, Washington brilliantly led a smaller, less experienced, and less disciplined army against the mighty British forces to one of the most shocking military upsets in world history. The British formally surrendered at the Treaty of Paris in 1783, and the colonies were now a free nation of states. The United States of America was born. In February of 1789, Washington was unanimously chosen as the country's first president, receiving all 69 electoral votes. John Adams of Massachusetts was chosen as his vice president. George Washington would serve as U.S. president for 8 years, 2 terms, retiring voluntarily at the end of his second term. He returned to his Mount Vernon estate on the Potomac in Virginia and died in 1799 at the age of 67. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.